Hello and welcome to a Train Sim World 2 video. I'm your host and today I'm driving a Class 20, nicknamed the Chopper, from Seaford to Brighton. This is on the East Coast Way route. Now before we start, I'd like to let you know that this is technically my second time driving the Class 20, and the previous attempt went okay. I basically did a journey from, where was it, Brighton all the way to Eastbourne, and it is quite a long way. I think I covered about 20 something miles, and I'm not sure whether I want to upload that one because I think it's quite a long video. I spent 30 odd minutes driving this thing. I do like driving it. I'll give you some information on my experiences, but of course inside the cab we have two different driving positions, and on this particular setup with two Class 20s sort of, coupled together, the correct cab should be the one which has the biggest opening for the windows. That is, well, right now I'm looking for the master key. It's over there. It's over there. So remember that if you need to reference that, it is on the driving position with the small windows. I'm just going to designate them small window and big window sides for the cab. We also have a hot plate that actually works, has some red effects going on for the coil in there, and I'll explain what a hot plate is in a moment's time. But yeah, I enjoy driving the Class 20. I think I'm going to be driving this quite a bit more for a couple of videos at least. I like it. It can run different services. Obviously I'm using the scenario planners so I can do whatever routes I really want to. But the setups that you can have with this thing is obviously the light engine, which is just one Class 20 on its own. Then you've got two, which is what I've got here, and I think this is my preferred setup because I like looking out of the big window so I can see everything on the track. Otherwise I only get a tiny view of the world from the little ones. And then there's also a passenger version which is hauling a Class 101, which is another older locomotive, which we may see, we may not see soon. I do want to learn how to drive the 101 effectively and reliably, because I am planning on doing streams and also more services and more videos. So I want to learn how to do the 101, but it will drag it along and use the 101 as its passenger cars, basically. At least I think that's how it's going to work. I don't know yet, I haven't driven that setup. And then obviously it can haul some freight around. Freight I don't really want to do too much of because it is kind of boring. I'm not really going to be stopping at any stations while doing freight. I'm just going to be probably going to be going from one station to another. But today I'm pulling nothing. And that's good because we can get some decent speed out of the Class 20. It is a very nice locomotive to drive, at least for me. And it makes a decent bit of noise as well. It's a diesel, so it's got a lovely sound to it. Also, if you see on the back wall where it says something like max speed 60 miles an hour, I think that's a complete lie because I was going from Brighton to Eastbourne and I actually touched about 90. So it can do more than 60. I don't know why it says max speed 60 miles an hour. And to be honest, the wiki said something about, what, 75 miles an hour, so I don't really know what's going on with that. But I have managed to reach 90 miles an hour, and even now we're going over 60, so it's strange how that works. I'm going to have to figure out whether they artificially speed it up, artificially increase the top speed, depending on what it is you're doing, or something along those lines. But yeah, this is the East Coast Way route, and we're travelling at relatively sort of early night sort of time, 8 o'clock. Pulling out of Seaford, and I believe this is New Haven Harbour that we're approaching. I think so, we may have already passed it, to be honest. And this route does have some pretty steep drops in terms of the speed limit, so please do keep an eye out for that. And everything should be good to go, really. So I'm going to mention the hot plate. The hot plate is basically a part of the train that allows you to cook or heat something up. If you're the driver, you know, if you want to cook your lunch on there or heat up some tea, you can do that, because I imagine you spend long hours on the railway, so it's nice to have basically inbuilt cooking facilities inside your own train, although you can't really do anything like that in the game. And to be honest, I think this is the only locomotive that they currently have that has a hot plate that works like that. The rest are all kind of just for show, even though it says hot plate on them, and it's obvious what it is. It's that's how it is. In the Class 20 it actually does heat up like that. You can select from 3 different settings if you just want to make it seem more realistic, if you want to pretend that you're an actual train driver, which I guess is what the whole game is for, then go right ahead. Yeah, so that's the whole thing with the hot plate, which seems a little bit weird to me, but whatever, that's how it is. Class 20, I'm going to note the brakes. I mostly try and use the locomotive brake because it's a lot smoother for me personally. That's what I've been using for the majority of the time using this particular train. Otherwise, there's the regular train brake, which I believe is a lot stronger and a lot more powerful. You get a lot more braking force from that. So choose what you want. There's also a brake selector switch in this locomotive. I'm not really tempted to play around with that because I don't want to lose all of my braking because I've set it up the wrong way by accident, and then I won't be able to stop. So I'm kind of afraid to touch anything that I don't know what it does. There's anti-slip brake there. I don't really know if I want to press that or not. I'm not going to. There's a horn there, low and high, which if you're on PC will be very easy to access. If you're on console, by pressing the L3 button, you'll only do the low or the high horn, depending on what it is. And you can't really set it from one to the next, unless you physically drag it up and down, like I just did. And here's the Class 20 in another view. I haven't set up the taillights. Sorry about that. On the railway I probably would be penalised for doing such a thing. There's no red lights on the back, but to be honest the lights aren't really that bright or noticeable. So that's a little bit unsafe, maybe? Well, I assume that when this is around it wouldn't really be used for a whole lot of things, probably just in a yard somewhere where you don't really need to be seen that much. So yeah, I think that's why they seem to be very dim on the front, if you ever see the front. But yes, that's everything I can tell you at the moment about the Class 20. I'll learn more about it as I go along and tell you about my experiences driving it, probably in another video which will feature it. Anyway, the point I wanted to get onto in this video was to discuss a few gripes, really. I probably said that in a very strange way. Gripes, yeah. Gripes with the game. And I'd like to start with a bug which I believe has just been fixed. I think it has. It worked fine this time around. I'm not sure if that's a fluke or not, but yeah. I'd like to explain what the bug was about. The bug concerned red signals at stations. So at the main station like Brighton or Eastbourne or Seaford in this case, the light would sometimes be red. So the signal on Seaford was red when I tried to set off from there previously before the update was released. So they did a little, I'm assuming that it's a patch. right? I'm assuming that's what it is, and I'm assuming it's fixed. If it hasn't been, I do apologise for everything I'm about to say, because I understand it to have been fixed now, but I know what the problem was. So basically when you started at the station there was a red signal and you couldn't actually set off, because if you pass the red signal it's an instant failure of the service and it wouldn't change to green. It didn't matter how you set it up, it didn't matter if there was locomotives in front of you or not, it didn't matter if any were coming towards you, it just wouldn't change to green. And I remember sitting there for about 5 minutes waiting for it, thinking that maybe it was another locomotive on the line that was causing it. It turned out no. It's a bug, or at least it was. So that was a bit annoying. I don't know how long that's been a thing in the game. It might have been there for... Ooh. Maybe they broke something previously, because this game did come out in 2020, not 2021 when I actually picked it up. So I don't know how long it's been in the game for, but that is quite annoying that you can't start from the big stations that have lots of platform room. So that really limited your options with the bug in place. But now I'm assuming it's been fixed. Well done Dovetail, and well done Rivet Games, and well done every other developer that works on this for fixing that. But there is, I think, one thing that they've missed out on, and that is weather effects. Well, weather effects and also seasons. So weather effects are non-existent in Scenario Planner to a certain extent. There is a way that you can change them. I looked on the forums for this particular game. Dovetail have their own forums available for this title, and also fishing simulator, and also I believe it's a flight simulator that they also have, maybe. I don't know, Train Simulator 2021, which is the latest version of Train Simulator, which is only on PC, I think. Basically, this game, but more stuff in it. And I think they add more stuff to Train Simulator 2021 than they will this game, but that's okay. I understand that the PC world is a lot bigger, more powerful, and it's probably worthy of expanding a lot more, you know? Anyway, that's the situation there. I went on the forums, I saw one of the threads about, it's concerning the weather effects. I was looking it up, I thought, is there a way to actually turn it on that I'm just missing? There is a way to change the weather. Sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. And it's not a feature that Dovetail have actually included themselves, it's basically an exploit. And I don't know how it works, I haven't tried it, because I'm kind of just waiting for them to do it anyway. I'm waiting for them to include a feature that allows you to change it. Because at this moment in time, if you see the wipers are basically useless at this point in Scenario Planner. In regular timetable mode, where the weather I think can be changed, or this just applies to Train Simulator 2, right? Train Sim World 2. It doesn't apply to Train Sim World 2020, which is the previous game, you know, in this series, where you could change the weather, but you didn't have a scenario mode. So there you go. Point being is that in regular gameplay, quote unquote, you can change the weather, or the weather will dynamically change on its own. But in scenario mode, no, it's just clear all the time and always summertime, which after a while will get pretty boring. So I'm looking forward to them including a weather changing ability for the scenarios that I make. And if they're going to do that, then that's great. If they're not going to do that, I won't really know about it. I'm not just going to sit there and spy on them just to make sure that they're doing something. Oh bloody hell, the frame rate. Well, the frame rate appeared to chug along there. I don't know if it was actually doing that, or if it was just the exhaust But my point is that I don't know when they're going to be bringing that out, or even if. So for right now, get used to the weather being clear, no rain, no snow, no nothing else, just summer clear. But I'll change the times of day when I do videos and all that, so that's fine. For now it'll do. Another gripe I have, and this isn't really Dovetail Games' fault, this isn't really anyone's fault, but it's just a personal preference, if you will. So the problem that I see is concerning the DLC to the game, particularly the DLC Locomotives. So there are locomotives that are available to buy separately, so you don't just get the ones included with the route, you can buy separate ones as well. Obviously that will add money onto the amount that you're spending on the game, but I don't really mind that. If there's a locomotive that I want, I will get it. The only major problem with that is that if you don't have the correct route that the thing was kind of implemented for, you can't get it. So there are currently 2 locomotives up for sale right now, available, that I would buy if I had West Somerset Railway as a route. The problem being is that West Somerset Railway hasn't been included in the list of DLCs that have just gone on sale, or at least on PlayStation Store. And I believe that sale is ending on the 19th of January. So if you wanna go and do that, you can, until then, 19th of January 2021. But I already picked up whatever I need for this month, and then next month I'll look into maybe getting more, depending on how these videos are going. But to sort of drive the point home, you can't purchase separate locomotives for a DLC that you haven't got installed, which is annoying because I'd love to drive the Class 52 and the Class 33. I'm tempted to every time say Class 45, but I already have that one. But yeah, the Class 52 and the Class 33 belong to the West Somerset Railway route, and if you don't have that installed, it won't let you buy them. And I'm just kind of a little bit annoyed by that, because that means that whatever future locomotives they might be releasing, I can't get without the route DLC. So basically that's more money. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that West Somerset Railway is a nice route. Maybe I'll get it someday, but right now I didn't really want to spend that much, to be honest. I would have been able to buy one of the locomotives though, and if I could, I'd drive it, but sorry, I can't. And that's not forgetting that West Somerset Railway as a route includes the Class 45, which I already have, just in a different livery, and also set up differently with the cab. The cab's different, the front of it, but everything else is kind of the same, and inside it's also a lot cleaner. There's no real dirt. It's sort of a nicely kept locomotive, but that's really the only difference. It's practically the same thing as the one from Northern Transpennine, which I've already got. And then there's the BR Class 09, which is a shunting locomotive, which the only difference I can really mention that's worthy is, yeah, it might look different from the Class 08, which you get in Tees Valley Line. It's a shunting locomotive, it's a little diesel thing, and I believe, according to the wiki, it can do 27.5 miles an hour, whereas the regular Class 08 can only do about 20 to 25. That's really the only difference that I can see. It might have more horsepower, might have less, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the same thing for me. It's not going to be able to go that fast down these lines, and I'm not really going to drive it that much, so I've sort of said, West Somerset Railway, yeah, not my thing at the moment, unfortunately. But I tell you what is, up my alley. That sounded very rude, I do apologise. What's up my alley right now is the Southeastern Express, is it? That's the name of the DLC that they are working on, and you can look on Dovetail Games' main site if you want to check out more about it. But it's located in, I know it goes from London to Kent, or through Kent maybe. It is apparently a long line, it seems that way anyway from the way it's sounding. But, you know, it does include 2 locomotives, one of which I already technically have, but it might be slightly different, I don't know. Includes the Class 377/9, and also a new one, the Class, is it 456? It's a high-speed train. It's one of the new high-speed trains that they recently introduced into the UK. If you kind of search that up generally, I'm sure you'll be able to find which one it exactly is. And I probably drive that route a lot. And I think that, yeah, that's one thing that I'm definitely going to get when it comes out. I don't know when it will come out, but I've checked around and it seems that PC gamers get the update before console gamers. And in the case of one update, the PC guys got it in July, and then console gamers I think had to wait until October for a particular route. I can't remember which one it was. And apologies if I'm slightly out on those dates on anything. No disrespect, but yeah, the console players probably will have to wait longer to get that particular update. I don't mind that, so long as I get to see people playing it online, you know, through YouTube or Twitch or whatever. Then I can learn more about it, and I've got more time to, I guess, prepare, you know, check out whether I actually do want it or not. But there are apparently 2 other locomotives which will be released as DLC, maybe 1, maybe 2, I don't know. They're both British trains, and that I think is the only British route at the moment that they're working on. So I'm just assuming that both the DLC locomotives that are available separately are going to be connected to that one, so I'm thinking, okay, to get all these I'll have to get that anyway. And they do look like nice DLC locomotives, which I'll talk more about in a future video because we are pretty much going to run out of time otherwise. But yeah, I'm excited for some things that are coming up for Train Sim World 2, and I'm excited to pick up more DLCs and do some more driving for you. But as we're pulling into Brighton, I hope you enjoyed the journey. It's been about 11 something miles, so kind of a short one. It did take us 24 minutes in total, really, with the whole video. But I do hope you enjoyed watching me drive trains, no matter what it is. And I am planning to do some streams as well, where I'll do longer routes and chat to you guys live. But most of my content will probably be pre-recorded, because then I can kind of edit stuff out and all that jazz. So, I do apologise for going on about some of my gripes with Train Sim World 2, I'm pretty sure that's not the end of it. But I don't dislike this game heavily. I think it's a good product. I still think it's worth the money that I paid. And I think that everything that I bought recently for the title has been worthwhile as well, so that is a positive result if ever I've really said one, you know. Anyhow, that's the end of the video. I do hope you enjoyed. Also, I'm about to smash into the buff. Yeah. Thank goodness that didn't fail me. Didn't manage to stick the landing at the end there, but I do hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you around. Hopefully in a stream, or hopefully in another video that's coming up soon. I'll see you all later.